Mr. Lewandowski, first of all, thank you because you have time for us. And first question is, how did you come up with the idea to found KSW and how long has it actually exist?
Whoa. So yeah, it's the question which I need to remind, all the back in the days. We've been on the market 18 years, so next year it will be exactly 20 years on the market. So we are the longest existing MMA federation in Europe, and I think UFC and maybe a couple others. So we also are one of the most longest existing in the world. So yeah, we are a solid company, 20 years on the market, nearly 20 years on the market, and then being still attractive. Personally, I found it as a big success, because this and last year we started with 12 shows per year. So, after such a long 2 decades being on the market and still being attractive for the audience, I think it's something unique. Especially that we're also targeting some other European countries. Before COVID, we started doing the show. We did already 3 shows in London, 1 in Zagreb, Croatia, and 1 in Dublin, Ireland. So the COVID stopped us with this expansion, and now we are going back. We started with Czech, Balkans countries, why not, to come back there. Yeah, so 20 years ago, that was, I was working as a promotion manager in Warsaw Marriott Hotel. And I was looking for the new sport discipline, which I could introduce to the Polish market. And I started with different one. And myself, I've been doing kung fu. Then I did, some boxing, then kickboxing, and I end up MMA, doing MMA. But it was, of course, not the MMA we can see right now. It was, just very, limited. Let's put it this way. So I was kind of familiar with martial art. I was working as a promotion marketing manager, so it was just good combination. And I had 5-star hotel behind, so I could. This is how I put the first show. Yeah, so we've been in years, on the market 2 decades. Yeah, it's been a long road.
How many events have been held so far?
Now we have 87. This is today's is the 87, but we did actually 5 more, but they were called differently, like KSW Extra, KSW Elimination. So you have to add another 5 on top of it. So it gives 92 altogether. Yeah, but those with numbers, the big ones are 87.
Yeah. Do you know how many fighters went through the organization?
Oh, actually, I didn't count it, but probably more than 1,000, I would believe. Oh. We have right now about 100 probably, fighters on the contract. So, yeah, I think even more than that.
One of them is Darko Stošić. What is your opinion about that?
I called him when I recorded, first video. He's like a Mike Tyson in MMA, and 100%. That's what he is. He just lost in KSW only the title fight. He was, 9 of his fight, with the KO. The guy who has 12 KOs in his total records out of 18, if I remember properly, the wins. He's just very strong, very solid guy, and also in terms of personality, also very nice guy. And I like this combination, like a monster in the cage and fighting, and outside of the cage, the guy you want to hug, So this is what Darko Stošić is, and of course, being and having him, such a high-ranked fighter, so it gives me this brave idea to go and maybe to visit your country one day.
Also, other Balkan fighters participated in KSW, such as Joker Ilić or even Arslan.
Mm-hmm.
He's also fighting now. What is your opinion about generally Balkan MMA scene?
You've been always, the one of the country which is have the fight in the vein, in the blood. So the same as Polish, actually, So I think that's why we understand each other so well. Just fighting nation, So there are not many countries in the world which produce, good fighters, or when they are born, as a good fighter. So I'm glad, and that's why, all the Balkans, as I said, before we did, one show in Croatia before COVID. But I'm just thinking about, going back, even if the market isn't big, your countries are not, like in terms of population, but still because of, you admire the fighting, you admire just the fighters. It's great. I'm a big fan, and I'm a good friend of Mirko Krokov Filipovic. So he also, oh Martin, when you come next time, etc. So yeah, so we have a great ambassador there. Mirko will be definitely one of the guys who will support all my actions taken, to the Balkans. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you maybe planning to bring someone from Balkan to KSW?
You mean like what? Like for someone more, another fighters, or what?
Yeah, another
yeah, of course. We just started, and because Balkans, they have a good fighting quality fighters, and we have enriched our contacts with the people there. So I think it will be growing, definitely.
One of the best Serbian fighters is Aleksandar Rakic. What is your opinion about his career? He's right now in UFC, but...
Yes. Well, I had a chance to meet this gentleman. What if he will be released from UFC? But this is tricky, because usually when the fighters are released from the UFC after the contract with the UFC, so usually they are after losses, so it's like we don't take fighters when they have like 3 losses in a row, so, but yeah, definitely if he will be like a free agent and he kind of rebuilds, I mean, I wish him the best, so I'm not saying that I want to see him losing 3 times in a row and just get rid of from UFC, but what can I say? Stošić was also in UFC, and I can say that on behalf of him that I think he found a new home. And I think that that's what he's, he's saying, that he feels, appreciated here. So UFC is not the only option in the world, there are a few other fighter organizations. So of course UFC is the biggest one, but still you could be, having the top position in other organization and just showing the skills. And this is like with Stošić, this is the same story with Phil de Vries, our heavyweight champions. He also was after UFC, but he said, this is my place now, and this is not, they don't think about UFC anymore.
Yeah. Are you planning maybe a world tour outside of Europe?
Not now, to be honest. I mean, usually, and my target first are European countries. There are so many. Plus, US is full of other organizations, especially UFC, but also Bellator, PFL. So there is no point. Plus, the time difference makes it very complicated, because when you do the show in US and you have all your audience in Europe, so you need to see what's the best hour, and it doesn't look it's a very good solution. But I'm thinking about US, but more as a kind of occasionally show, but it will be more targeting for the Polish audience. I'm not thinking about competing with UFC, Bellator, or PFL. It will be more like, a kind of PR event.
Can we maybe expect KSW in Serbia?
Yes, actually before I came here, I met 2 gentlemen who are going to help me with building KSW in Serbia, in Belgrade, actually, So, and of course, thanks to Stošić, the way how he, fights and his general personality, I'm thinking about one day coming to Belgrade, maybe next year, maybe within 2 years, but definitely. You have a great venue. I've been in Belgrade, so it's for 20,000. So it's also, it needs to be very well prepared. So I just can't, because I can decide tomorrow, okay, let's go to Belgrade. But, whenever we go to any other cities, I don't want to say to sell out the venue, but most of the cases it happens, but sometimes it don't. So when I will do the first step, and do the show in Belgrade. So I want to have this confidence that we can sell out the venue, yes? And this is about the main media, the fighters, just the relation, and just to build the brand. So unfortunately, this situation with COVID just stopped us. Otherwise, we probably would be already after the debut in Belgrade.
It's good to hear it, but let's look back at a very interesting question, and that is Robertu Levandovskom related to you, given that you have the same last name?
Yeah. But what do you want to know? I know him. He was on my 40th birthday. You know, I know his wife quite well. Yeah, but this is funny whenever I go outside of Poland, you know, when I check in the hotel, so people, oh, Lewandowski, you know this guy? I say, yeah, no way, really, you know him? I said, yes, but what? He's just, you know, normal human being, you know, very popular, yeah. So it gives me this advantage that, you know, on the check-in, I always have a friend outside, you know.